All right. Welcome everybody to the Healthy Self podcast and webinar. This is your host, Cade Archibald, and really excited to be here with everybody today. Along with me, we got the original gangster himself, founder of Anodyne Pain and Wellness, founding member of Anodyne Pain and Wellness, and Go Wellness, and this Healthy Self podcast, Regan Archibald. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
actually a really good provider, practitioner, and acupuncturist as well. So got a lot of stuff going on for this guy. Reagan, how's it going?
it's going really well. Yeah, really well. Yep, April 1st today, so it's a brand new month, brand new quarter. Really excited.
Yeah, time to play some jokes on
Yeah,
some folks.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, for all the listeners out there, Reagan is the best at playing pranks on, especially mom,
Mostly
um,
mom.
but
Yep.
also our sisters as well.
Yeah.
I just myself too, but I was kind of too young to really get what was going on. But when you'd wake Amber up at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and tell her hey Amber, the phone's for you.
Yeah. Or 1 a.m.,
Yeah,
anytime.
just whenever you were awake and felt like making someone's life a little bit miserable.
Yep, April Fools. So, how many of you have ever done an April Fool's joke on somebody? Maybe you could share.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe a good one would like so some like nasty food that looks really good.
there you
Um,
go. Like those jelly
that could
beans
be.
that are like throw up, like vomit jelly beans,
Yes.
or like dog food flavored jelly beans. My
Oh.
kids love those. They're like, "Oh, that's so nasty. Okay, eat this one." Yeah.
All right. Well, so those of you, oh, nice. Got my 13-year-old up today at 3 a.m. for school. That is brilliant. Nice work, Cameron. That's awesome. Uh, yeah,
Whoops.
Reagan's son, Dom, is staying at my house this week in St. George, and then he's got a flight to go back up to Salt Lake tonight. And I woke him up early this morning and told him that his flight got moved and it was intent like we had to leave, otherwise he was gonna miss his flight like right then. And so he jumps up and starts packing all his stuff. I let it go on for about like 5 minutes, and I was like, I can't let it go any further. Dom, do you know what day it is? He's like, Thursday. It's like, yeah, it's April 1st. He's like, okay. And I was like, yeah, so it's April Fool's Day. He's like, oh, you. Eh, That
That's
was
great.
good times. Well, so what are we going to dive into today? We had an amazing Health Accelerator course last night. So for those of you that are not enrolled in that, make sure you hop on that. Go to acueastwest.com/hack, HAC, and just post it in the chat box as well. But make sure you tune into that. That is, and we got different challenges going on and everything. And yeah, so man, I got to look at my notes. What was the challenges last night?
So what we're going to do is a debrief of the whole program. And so this is for those of you in the chat or in the group. The beautiful thing about this podcast today is you can go back and just listen to it. So you'll have the audio version. And then we're going to go and remind you of all the hacks. But just so you remember, last night, Kate, is Spartan Race.
Oh yeah, it was a
It's kind of a
challenge.
big one, to be honest. I
Oh, I
don't know
got it
how you
right here.
forgot,
Spartan
but
race in June. I got it
yes.
written right in my notes.
Yeah, so it's something that makes you nervous. So it's something you've never done before, that you're excited about. Maybe that's a long hike. Maybe it's jumping into a yoga class, trying Pilates. We talked about running a 5K or a marathon, depending on your fitness levels. And that's the challenge. And the whole purpose of the Health Accelerator Challenge for March, it was the 5 weeks to optimal movement, and so and optimal fitness, optimal health, and pain reducing techniques. And so I thought it was incredible just to see the participation. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through each of the challenges, because there's 5 that we put out there, just to remind everybody, and then use this as a platform where you can come back and get up to date on your Health Accelerator. So does that sound okay, Kate, or did you have something else in mind?
That sounds beautiful. Let's do this.
All right. So challenge number 1, what we called it was ending pain and critical hormones that your joints can't function without. So if you guys think of what pain does to your energy levels in your life, it zaps things. One of the worst things about having pain is you can't participate in activities. A lot of my patients, I was meeting with an amazing lady yesterday, and she said, I just want to ski, but not even ski as much as I just want to be able to go and hang out with my grandkids and actually have some action in my life instead of sitting and hoping the pain goes away on its own. And she's just, she was just in tears because she's a former nurse, and she was like really looking for answers. And all the answers that she'd received to date was, a surgery, which helped for a minute, and then pain medications. And she said, I can't keep going on like this. And so that's where we gave her solutions. So in our very first challenge, what our goal was is to help people feel empowered so that they realize there's actually some very impressive ways to get out of pain. And first thing you have to do is decide. I love this quote, and I shared this by Jim Rohn, but it's the first source of inspiration is deciding. The second source of inspiration is planning. The biggest source of inspiration is beginning. And so for those of you on this that have any kind of health challenges or any kind of pain in your life, I can tell you the very first thing you want to do is just decide that you're going to get this problem taken care of. Because, Cade, what do you see in people's lives who don't actually take care of their pain?
Yeah, it is just a drainer. It just sucks the energy out of life, the enjoyment, and yeah, it's just a lot more challenging to enjoy life when you're in pain constantly. And yeah, a lot of time, like when I'm in pain, people don't like to be around me because I'm grumpy.
Yeah,
Not
I've
saying I
noticed,
know
Cade.
that about anyone else, but that's usually the case. Is if you're in a lot of pain, it's just really hard to get past that. And so it's so critical to figure out what the cause of that is and come up with a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, the biggest thing wherever you are in your health journey, just don't stop, because life is so rewarding and rich and abundant for us. But man, when you don't have your health, it all stops. And so one of the reasons that we do this podcast, we do this show, we have this amazing community, is so that we can remind you guys that, stay on track. Healing is a daily choice, and healing is different than a cure. And I think it's a really important distinction when you look at that. Healing is something that helps you transform where you are from your current state of health to where you want to go. My first book, called Your Health Transformation, is all about that process. And so healing is where you're actually in this, this transformation every single day. A cure is when you go back to the original state. And so it's a beautiful thing, if you consider, no matter how far gone you think your joints are, or your body, or you don't believe that you can increase your fitness levels or increase your overall health, well, you want to jump into these hacks, because we shared some great insights that we're already seeing people just in this 30-day process, this 5-week process. We're seeing people that have been more active than they've been in their entire life. And so I really appreciate those of you on the show today and those who will be listening in the future. I really appreciate your dedication to health, because I believe that's the fastest way that, as Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see. But if we want to change the planet and have, healthier societies, more happiness, then the very first thing we got to do is make our health our number one priority. Otherwise, it can unravel very quickly. And so some of the things we always do in our Health Accelerator challenges is we focus on just getting better 1% every day. And so we talk about behaviors, we talk about new habits, because all of us have 24 hours in a day. And what you do with those 24 hours is going to be really important. And so I don't know if you remember last night, Cade, we talked about those subtle changes, that are, when you start making lifestyle changes, you don't see immediate results. Maybe you start sleeping better, your energy gets a little better, but it's after a certain amount of time, then all of a sudden it's like these exponential returns come, like compounded interest. Have you noticed that in your own life?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny if you like think about how our minds usually work. It's like, oh, I did a killer workout today, and you're like, I'm looking in the mirror, like, yeah, like,
Hmm.
wait, do I notice it? I don't think I do yet. But we always want that instant gratification. But it is just those little teeny things over time. Because that's really when I got on my health journey. What, eight plus years ago? It was really like slow and sluggish, and just felt like, why am I doing this? Why am I eating this way? And then you know over for about, it was like the 4 week mark is where I really started to be like, oh man, I actually feel better, because I felt kind of crummy at the beginning. I feel better, my energy's up. Like, I started actually noticing that I was like trimming up. Um, yeah, so it just feels really good, and but it is like little small things that actually, like, you can start seeing results.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
it's not like I did this amazing workout this morning, which I had a really good F45.
Did you?
If
Nice.
anyone goes to F45, I got over 50 points today. That's a big one. So
Woo!
everyone out there is like, yeah,
Good job, kid.
crushed it.
Nice.
Just felt really good. But I can't just do that once and be like, all right, yeah, I'm good, guys.
Right. Continual process. And so one of the things, I mean, the great thing about that is, if you think about how it impacts your energy levels for today, you can be a better boss, a better business owner, a better father, a better leader for our organization. I mean, all those things come into play. And at the end of the day, you're happier. And so the
Yeah,
thing that gets in the way, and in challenge number one that we talked about, is this chronic pain cycle that I know many of you are in. And that's one of the reasons you've reached out to us. But the very first thing in this chronic pain cycle, if you look at it from more of a physiological perspective, number one is you have anxiety. That there's a signal, because pain is a sensation, right? And that signal, it tells us that there's tissue damage and harm in our body. And then secondly, what happens is our brain becomes more focused on the problem. And so that's all we can think about. I mean, I've had injuries. I've got one right now. I got an MRI scheduled for today at 2 o'clock. And I'm just like, every movement, I'm like trying to make sure I don't disrupt that shoulder, because I'm like, there's some significant damage there. And then what happens is then that focus changes your nervous system behavior, and then it increases the pain. So in St. George, when I was there and Dan started working on my shoulder and like moving it around and releasing it, that was incredibly painful, but it relieved the anxiety in my brain, because he was able to restore range of motion in my shoulder. So hopefully I'm sharing some things that'll be helpful for you guys in your journey too. And then that created less anxiety, more movement. And then, but without that change, the anxiety causes more pain. Anxiety causes more pain. And actually, in the study that we shared, They found that the prevalence of mood disorders among pain patients, so those of you who have loved ones or family members who are in pain, what they show is that 54% of people who have chronic pain cycles have mood disorders. So that's over half. And Cade, you mentioned you get grumpy. So my job is to never let you get into chronic pain, because I really, I spend more time with you than anyone else, which I really appreciate. I mean, I wouldn't ask to spend, okay, maybe my wife, um, but I don't want you grumpy. So
Well, I'm not fun to be around when I'm grumpy, right?
no, no, it's hilarious when even my boys would be like, "Oh, Cade was kind of grumpy when Dom was like, Cade was kind of grumpy when he was driving the boat." I'm like, "No, he wasn't. He was like managing all you guys and all of us." Just like one little subtle thing, and like everyone's so sensitive. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, so these chronic pain, one of the things that you want to look at in your body. So how many of you have chronic pain right now that you'd love to never experience again? Now you can just raise it in the chat box, because pain is a four-letter word. Pain is that thing that we dismiss too frequently, because we've been told as kids, don't cry, get up, be tough, and you got this, instead of like really honoring what our bodies are going through. And so this chronic pain cycle, it's really important to start looking deeper in your body as to what is actually going on. And so it looks like we have several people who've been through experiences of chronic pain. But some of the things we look at is you can have systemic muscle pain, and that can be from inflammation. Maybe you have a thyroid issue. I know when my thyroid was not functioning, I hurt everywhere. Every day felt like I had the flu. You can have infections that cause pain, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia. These things are real. Joint issues. Kate, we treat a lot of joints in our clinics at Anodyne, pain and wellness, and these can cause a lot of disruption to your quality of life. You can have arthritis in your back. You can have disc bulging. What I hear every day is that the patient wished they would have started care with us 10 years ago, instead of wasting their time and their money. And some of them have ended up on disability because of the unrelenting pain. And then one of the most common sources of pain is back pain. And back pain can be caused from degenerative discs. It can be caused from trauma, poor sitting. I mean, Kate, you had dealt with chronic back pain, and
Oh
you
yeah.
handled it pretty well. You still stayed happy, but were you happier once you got that pain corrected?
Oh yeah. Well, and it wasn't like a constant all the time nag. It was just any activity I did, and so it just really limited. And I think that's like the one of the things with pain. Even if it's not a constant, like I'm sitting here, I'm not in pain, but as soon as I start moving and doing something, it's painful. Like that zaps your life. Like some of those activities that I love to do, I couldn't do, or I could only do a little bit, and then I'd just be really grumpy.
Yeah.
So I just limited it enough so I didn't get too grumpy.
Yeah, which is no fun, right? Because
No.
it's a person who likes to go like 110%. So one of the things that we talked about is this new paradigm. If you look at the cause of chronic pain, there's a study that was done, and what they found is that there was this bacterial transmigration into every osteoarthritic joint. So if you have arthritis in your joint, rheumatoid or osteoarthritis, you're going to have this foreign species of bacteria, this staph infection essentially in your joint. And this is very interesting, because what the study is called is the cartilage gut microbiome axis, a new paradigm for novel therapeutic opportunities in osteoarthritis. But what they found is that bacteria is actually moving and can be found in the synovium of osteoarthritic patients. Not only is that bacteria, can it be pathogenic, but what they also found is that these pathogenic bacteria that lived in the joints and did not belong there actually increased the inflammation and caused a further disruption of the bacterial health. And so that's something that we've looked at is man, with osteoarthritis, not only is there bacteria in the joint, but we've also found that in osteoarthritis, there is insulin resistance in the joint. If you read the book Why We Get Sick by Professor Bickman, he's out of BYU here in Provo. It's a great book, but one of the things he shares are studies about how cartilage degeneration occurs because of insulin resistance in the joint. So I think that's kind of interesting, Cade,
I
from
think
more
it's
of a
so
medical
interesting.
perspective.
Well, and it also, like when we got involved in regenerative medicine and stem cell therapy, yeah, that's our primary treatment. Like if you're dealing with low back or any back issues, anything like that, you got to look into regenerative medicine and stem cells or some sort of regenerative medicine product there. And we've seen such great results. The ones, we have a small non-responder rate, which is extremely low, about 5% non-responder. I look at most of those cases, they have blood sugar issues. Like we're not keeping it, they're not able to keep their blood sugar at effective rates. And so I think it makes total complete sense, and it actually answers the question of why
Yeah.
that is. And you got insulin resistance in that joint that causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, it really does. So yeah, then we said, well, how do we treat that? Just like you said, Cade, well, we use, these tissue allografts to utilize to regrow, the damage that's been done. We do stem cell recruitment, in the umbilical cord and the amnion tissue. These MSCs are actually, they release these antimicrobial peptides. LL37 is one of those, and that LL37 helps get rid of the bacterial infection. So for those of you who have had these, some of these stem cell recruitment therapies and stem cell therapy with these tissue allografts, one of the things that science shows is that there are these antimicrobial properties. There's also properties like the MMP9 that breaks down scar tissue and allows your joint to thrive again. So I can't wait to get my shoulder injected. I've just been waiting for my MRI. And then once I get that, you're going to see a brand new shoulder. We've been doing BPC 157 and thymosin beta 4 injections in it. And that's improved the pain levels dramatically. It was 30% the first time that Sarah injected it. And then it's just gotten better and better and better. So I'm really excited. So I'll let you guys know how that's looking.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there are novel ways. There's different peptides that we use, like the BPC and the TB4, and then with the tissue allografts, there's no reason why you need to live in chronic pain. And then we got acupuncture on top of that, which is phenomenal. And now we're bringing in chiropractic care. We've got Dr. Dylan Knight, who's just a phenomenal chiropractor. We're going to have him on the show. But yeah, he starts next week. So for those of you in the northern regions in Alpine or Salt Lake, you're going to have access to just a really amazing chiropractor who's been through our Go Wellness trainings and just more talented than almost any other chiropractor I've worked with. So excited about
Yeah,
him.
really, really sharp guy. I think all the patients up there are gonna love him.
Yes. So the challenge on week one, hopefully you guys, one of the things we did talk about is cortisol production. But one of the challenges we talked about is just making sure that you are getting out, you're getting rid of pain, and then you're regulating your cortisol cycles because that causes pain increase or decrease. And so get out in the morning and get out in the sun and go for a walk or exercise for about 20 minutes in the morning. Challenge number two, week two, is the 8 minutes of exercise minimum per day commitment. So this is where we talked about exercise benefits. And so if for those of you who have an exercise program, one of the things you want to look at is why you'd want an exercise program in the first place to give you a little motivation. But one of the things that the researchers found, that especially if you're a postmenopausal female and males, but this study was done particularly with females, they found that if they exercise for 30 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise each week, they had lower incidences of breast cancer, lower incidences of heart disease, and lower incidences of diabetes and blood sugar. So
Wow.
2.5 hours of your life. I mean, I don't know how many hours there are in a week. I think, what is there? There must be 120 something hours in a week. But if you just think, wow, what if I just spent 2.5 hours of moderate exercise? Could you do that? And look at the big return you get on the other side of it, not only the long term, but short term as well. And they talked to, the research talked about the importance of high impacts, exercises, like dancing, aerobics, running, jogging, jumping rope, stair climbing, playing like pickleball. I know pickleball is huge down there in St. George.
Oh yeah.
There's whole communities, how there's communities built around golf courses. Aren't there like pickleball communities down there? Or am I wrong?
No, they just put a lot of pickleball courts in the golf communities.
Oh, I
So
see.
you can
Okay.
either go play golf or you go pickleball.
Man, well, that's awesome. And no rugby, like there, you don't like in the.
That would be awesome to
we got
see.
we
Like
got
we got
another
a bunch
injured.
of we got a lot of like retired folks playing rugby. That would be impressive.
Yeah,
But like the risk to reward ratio is just probably not there. Like even for me, I'm like I would love to go play rugby, but at the same time, like an injury from that is probably highly likely, and it's not really worth it.
right. Yeah, but if anyone's on a retired rugby league, let us know.
I'd be impressed.
We want
That's
to watch
awesome.
that because I've seen old man strength.
Yes.
Our dad's a beast, and he's 70, almost. He's turned 71 in what, 3 days?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. There's a lot going on, but as we age, one of the things you want to look at in your exercise is, okay, what are some of the weight bearing, some of the more high intensity? What are some of the lower intensity, lower impact work you can do? And then you always want to have weight or strength training exercises in there. So one of the very most important movements, and we talked about this last night, was the squat, because we go through the primal movements. And I think from the research that I've done, and Dan Sullivan's actually going to be on the show in about a month from now. Again, he's got the plan to live to be 156. And one of the things we're going to be diving deep into is the mechanics of the squat, that he's been doing squats every day, but he's grown his quads by like 2 inches, and it's caused an increase in his testosterone, and he's 76. And so if you don't think you can put on muscle mass at that age, he's living proof that you can. But squats, I would say, are one of the most important movements, because in the primal movement, you can squat. And if you think primal, it just means like, how are our bodies designed to move? And you can squat, you can hinge. So Cade, do you want to show a hinge movement? A hinge is like a kettlebell swing, right?
Yeah.
Like picking stuff up. Yep, the
Yeah.
hinge. And then you got your push, so pushing, and then you got your pulling movements, or push up and pull up. And then you got your walk, so your gait. Then you've got a lunge, and then we can rotate. So all those cool movements, if you do these primal movements every day, you're going to help activate all the muscles in your body. And the muscle groups in your body are the most needy group for insulin sensitivity. So if you have good, solid muscles, your blood sugar will stay stable. And as we know, if you make it to the age of 80, which I believe everyone in this community will, barring any kind of crazy natural, kind of calamity, but the thing you have to worry about the most is Alzheimer's disease. And so just by increasing your muscle mass, you're going to improve your brain health and improve every single metric in your body. So So some of these primal movements are going to be key. And then you want to look at, maybe doing sprints. Do you remember that study that Dr. Eckel shared at Go Wellness on sprints, Cade, and brain-derived
No.
nootropic factors? I know you're usually working, with the clients and coaching, but Dr. Eckel, he shared a study where he found that the highest release of brain-derived nootropic factors, which are the protective proteins for your brain, the way to get the highest amount of those is through sprints. And sprints
That's
work more muscle groups in the body than any other exercise you can do. Because, I mean, you think about it, and kid running track, you probably remember, even having chest soreness when you're running those
yeah.
curves. Yeah, it's crazy. So sprints could be something great. Lifting heavy things and then move frequently at a slow pace. So make sure you got those three things in, and that's like a really good formula for just keeping your body super healthy in your exercise. Thoughts on that,
Love
Cade?
that. No, I love that. And I think, um, you know, sometimes it's, you hear this, and I think we all know, and everyone knows, like exercise is good for our health. It's just really like taking that initiative and that one simple step to, do some kind of movement. So even if you're in, you know, different pains, different things going on, is just getting movement. Like even if you're, bedridden, finding ways to, get different joints and different areas of your body to move. Use your lungs, use breath. I think those things are so critical because, just like what Reagan said at the beginning is you make, these little teeny changes that are moving you in the right direction. Eventually you hit that curve where you can really start moving. And I think, even, some of the stuff with, COVID and these sicknesses, I cringe when I hear people, they just go and they lay in bed all day,
Right.
because that oxygen and that movement, that's what, like, you got to get your lungs moving.
Yeah.
That's actually the most critical thing. If you get a respiratory illness or anything like that, you gotta breathe it out. That's critical. So, I
Yeah.
think, so important to look at and realize and then plan around it. Because I think
Right.
that's why uh, why most of us don't exercise, is we don't, like, just put a stake in the ground and say, okay, this is my time. This is like for my health, for my person, for myself. It's sacred. No one else is going to touch this, and this is the exact time when I go. Whether that's in the morning, afternoon, like, you can do it any time. Just create a construct where that's foundational.
Yeah. And Kate, to your point on the immune system, the Lancet published a study in 2018, and here's what they found. I mean, for immune benefits, they found that regular moderate exercise decreases the inflammatory response, so you increase immune regulation. Exercise flushes out pathogens in your airways. So if you think about it, especially if you're breathing through your nose as much as you can when you exercise, that's where a lot of the infections tend to replicate. That's why with COVID, you're getting the nasal swab, because once you flush out those pathogens, then you get the antibodies and white blood cells that circulate more rapidly in your vascular system. Pretty interesting, right?
Nice, yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
Exercise reduces cortisol, and then that increase in body temperature is like inducing a fever. So we have fevers because then we have phagocytosis that can happen where those pathogens get eaten up. That's what a fever does, is it kind of renders some of the pathogens weak so that our body can recognize it, clear them out, and we can move on. So yeah, some very powerful, just, you talking about immune system. I think those are some great things. Um,
Yeah. Diane had a comment here. Always loved to work out. So you taught step and high impact aerobic classes for 20 years. That's awesome.
Nice.
You were taking 9 classes a week at the health club before the virus. Then the
Wow.
virus shut everything down, and I got lazy. Only taking 5 classes now. Hey, that's still impressive. 5 classes now because that is what the club offers. This past month has got me going at it again due to the HAC classes. Oh, thanks for
Yay.
sharing that, Diane.
There you go,
Glad
Diane.
it's got you back at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good. And Diane, you may remember some of the workouts. So Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. That's a great workout you can do. You can do a lot in 8 minutes with a Tabata. And Cade, you've done Tabatas in the first like 2 minutes, you're like, I got this. And then by
Oh
minute
yeah.
3, you're like, oh shoot, by minute 4. And then you do another cycle and it really starts hurting. By minute 8, you just feel like you worked out for an hour. So
Yeah,
um,
I love Tabatas. It's like a mind game because, yeah, to your point at the beginning, you're like, oh, this is so easy. Like, why don't I just keep going? Why am I resting right now? And then, like, at the end, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can do 20 seconds of this.
20 seconds feels like 20 minutes.
Yes.
So 2 books that I would recommend everyone read. Body by Science. That's where you go really slow in lifting so you don't injure yourself. And that cadence is challenging.
Yeah,
But great workout by Dr. Doug McGuff. He did most of his research at Logan. I don't know if you knew that, Cade, but I do try
I
to
did
cherry
not.
pick our Utah scientists and promote their work because I love Utah. So sorry, Diane, I know you're from Montana, but I love Montanans too. But I like to see the research that comes locally here. So and then I know the people are good people too. Um, Younger Next Year is another great book written about 20 years ago, but it shows you how to turn back your biological clock. So these are some great things. Peptides, if you are exercising and you have not been exercising, and you get the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, that where you don't want to work out the next day. Cade, what's the magical peptide so you have no muscle soreness that makes you feel like you didn't even work out the day before?
Oh,
You
I
remember?
thymosin beta
There you
4
go.
is amazing for that. Love thymosin beta 4.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, because there's nothing worse than you do a hard workout the day before and then you wake up the next day and you're sore and then the next day you're even more sore and you're like, oh. But thymosin beta 4 has been a game changer in the recovery. And so what the studies show is that it's the first gene to be upregulated after an injury. And so if you think about what you're doing with exercise and especially weightlifting is you're breaking down muscle. So it's really weird because exercise, you're actually breaking down your body. And then it's the recovery and the repair process that allows your body to rebuild something even better. And if you don't put a little stress on your body, then your body will just break down itself on its own. And so, what thymosin beta 4 helps you do is repair the damage long before your body could do it on its own because it's already there. You're just assisting the body's natural abilities to heal. So, it's not like you're using a hormone like growth hormone to improve your healing time. All you're doing is cleaning up that genetic pathway so that your body knows how to heal faster. It just turns on that signal. Hey, Cade needs to repair, and it gets done. Cool
I
peptide.
love it. It's so cool. So yeah, you can. It almost. It's like a trick pony peptide just because like you have this like killer workout and you expect to just be so sore and beat up. The next day you wake up and it's like, did I even work out? Like I don't feel
Right.
it.
Yeah. And it's really good for the brain, the thymosin beta 4, and then it's also really good for your immune system. So this is a great one. And then the other peptide that you can use if you're like Diane and you say, man, I want to get some additional benefits from exercise, but I can't do it as much as I like. Well, that's where the mitochondrial derived peptide called MODSC is really powerful because what the studies show is that it helps mediate the insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity in the skeletal muscle. And it also leads to AMPK activation, which is a fancy way of saying it. MOD-SC helps you get the benefits of exercise right in the mitochondria, even if you have not exercised. And so that's pretty interesting.
Nice,
So that
nice little hack.
it's a big
Maybe,
hack.
yeah, yeah. Had a couple other comments I'll go through. Oh, and this is back on our conversation about kind of COVID and getting uh, exercise, but also just fresh air, sunshine, along with exercise helps build up immunity to fight it. I 100% agree. Um, had to time my morning mountain sprint workout around your health morning sessions. It was cold. Oh, glad you're here, Bev.
Yes, I love Bev's dedication. Bev has just like transformed her health. So I think we all need to give Bev a big hand. She's just done
Yeah.
so well. Yeah, so great.
Um, and then we had oh, Joy. When are we getting a chiropractor in St. George? It's in the works, but we don't have our candidate at this point. Um,
But Jeff, our physical therapist, Dr.
he's
Gell, is so
amazing.
hands-on. Like he does a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah,
So work with
Chris.
Jeff. You'll be shocked.
Yeah, see Jeff if you haven't. He's our physical therapist down here, and he is amazing. And then how do you spell it? It's thymosin, Thymin.
Yep.
I think I missed an O in there.
Thymosin. Yeah.
Thymosin
Yep. Beta 4.
beta 4.
Yep. And if anyone needs help getting that, just call one of the offices. We have the thymosin beta 4 frag now that's just oral. But I like the injectable a little better, but the frags work
Yeah.
great. It's less expensive. It's over the counter, so it's not a prescription.
And then Marty asked, where can I get these peptides? The easiest way to do it, give our office a call. This is and we need to do an announcement about the name change. I think people have started
Yeah.
seeing things. We sent out an email, and so we'll talk really briefly about that. But call, it's Anodyne Pain and Wellness. If you call us at the 801-872-8699, it'll route you to whatever location is going to be best for you. And yeah, we can schedule a consultation and see what peptides would be right for you, because we do want to make sure we're not we're getting you the right things for your goals and what you're currently doing for your health.
Yeah. Do not get these on Amazon or over the counter because they are for research use only and they have some really weird preservatives and they may be dangerous. So just as a caveat, and you've got to make sure you seek medical advice on these. We're just giving you some research here.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yes, so Cade, we had a big announcement that was made. We sent out an email, and we have now fully transitioned from East West Health, which is the baby that I hatched in 2004, and now we are officially Anodyne Pain and Wellness.
Yeah. Yeah. So we we have a network of what, about 15 different offices nationwide, soon to be about
About
50.
40 or 50. Yeah, actually with licenses, we'll be at 50 we'll be over 50 by the end of the year. So really exciting to be part of a nationwide network. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, it's really really cool. I think still, Diane, closest one to Montana is going to be Utah.
Salt
Uh,
Lake,
so
yeah.
that's Salt Lake.
We'll get
Uh,
up there. I love that area.
but yeah, we looked at, we're our goal is to make collaborative medicine, and what we do is this is mainstream, and so this is a way that we can do that. So we are now working with in partnership with Anodyne Pain and Wellness. So we're really excited about it. It's they've added some different capabilities for us, and we've done the same for some of the other offices, and so
Yeah.
yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, and we'll be having our newest merge with Integrated Wellness in South Jordan as well. And so be on the lookout for that. There's just really exciting things going on here. And we couldn't have done any of this and any of these collaborative partnerships without you guys being just such incredible members of our community. So can't thank you enough. And I really want to thank you guys for sending your friends and family. And I mean, every day I see, people come in just full of hope again and light and seeing them make that transformation is a joy of my life. But I couldn't have done that without you sharing with them what your experience has been at our clinics at now Anodyne or East West. So thanks you guys over the years. It's been a really fun process. So um, can't thank you enough. And that's not an April Fool's joke. This is actually real.
Yeah,
we,
everyone's
we
like
are
waiting for the punchline.
are literally, we have changed our name, but yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cade.
Diane asked, the hack classes are free for anyone to watch. So, yes. So we have,
If they come from you, Diane, but
yeah.
it
So
is a
if it's a
$500 fee.
referral, so there is it's typically it's a $500 course that people can purchase. If they're referred straight from you, a patient, yes, send them our way. We want to figure out how we can provide the best education, content, all of those things to our communities, to the world, really. And so, yes, please share and yeah, we love helping anyone. And I think
Yeah.
hopefully you're seeing it on the hacks, and also this podcast is it's not we work with people that are currently suffering with chronic disease or chronic pain, but also if you're really healthy and just looking to get your health to the next level, um, the we I believe we really love working with all those different spectrums. So
Cool.
awesome. Oh,
So
sorry, my mic is
so just to kind of finish up on the movement therapy, week 3 we talked about. So one of the challenges on week 2 is get your exercise gear set out. And so no more bathrobes in the morning. When you wake up, just get in your exercise gear and go. If you don't have a pattern, if you like to exercise in the afternoon, well, at least set out your clothes in the morning so you have your little scarecrow. But that's going to be the trigger that helps you maintain the habit. And Anne gave me that idea. So thanks, Anne. And so week 3 was nutritional shortcuts to remove movement induced inflammation. So this was all on electrolytes. And Kate, I think this was probably one of the most talked about of all of the hacks that we did last month. It was the hydration. And
yeah.
because people are like, oh, wow, I'm just looking at all the sugar that's in my electrolytes. And I didn't realize how much better I feel when I actually do these electrolytes. And so the challenge was to get some electrolytes or even putting sea salt and lemon and drink a glass of water every morning. And then an hour before bed at night, you drink your final glass of water so you're not waking up to urinate at night and disrupting your beautiful sleep. And then you add electrolytes to your water so that you're actually hydrated. And have you been doing more electrolytes still, Kid? I know you increased yours since the hack.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely have. And no, it's great, especially in the mornings. I was kind of hit and miss.
Yep.
After a workout, adding in the electrolytes is super critical. Especially like, yeah, I like to have a morning cup of coffee. And that was one thing from the hacks. Coffee, is obviously a diuretic. And so getting some electrolytes along with that's really important because otherwise you're going to be dehydrated.
Yes. And the caffeine, it will deplete magnesium, so make sure you put magnesium back into your life, your body. So we talked about getting hydrated, and then we talked about foods that cause inflammation, like gluten, some of the dairies, some of those industrial plant oils, like the cottonseed oil, canola oil. Corn can cause it. Any fried foods, syrups, sodas, biscuits, crackers, all the processed foods and fast foods are going to cause inflammation. And then foods that reduce inflammation, we talked about, like your avocados, your olive oil, your tart cherries, onions and garlic, making sure you're getting super healthy meats, and then an abundant source, like 1 to 2 pounds of leafy green vegetables every day. And then eating the smaller fish. The salmon has less amounts of toxicity and mercury in it, but getting some wild caught salmon, some sardines and mackerel, those are great ways to get your fatty acids. And then we talked about collagen, and even shared some studies on how collagen actually helped repair damaged joints in athletes who used it over the athletes who didn't. So if you want to recover faster, not only do you need thymosin beta 4, but also add some collagen in your diet, and then add in some vitamin C, because vitamin C is the activator for collagen. And then turmeric and ginger are some of our favorite anti-inflammatories. So the challenge for number 3 was simply, get collagen, add hydration, but get some forest bathing done. Go for a walk out in the trees after dinner every night. Go for a walk. So, all right.
Awesome. Love it. We had a couple questions come in, so I'm going to interrupt you real quick,
Oh
Reagan.
yeah, please.
And Cheryl, you might need to clarify your question. What testers do you recommend for the water we drink? Are you talking like alkaline strips or?
Oh, to see the toxicity in your water. Because Cheryl, you can go to ewg.org, environmentalworkinggroup.org, plug in your zip code, and they've got all the testing on your water supply right there.
Nice. And then Diane asked about wild cod. Is wild cod not that great, or is the question wild caught?
Yeah,
Wild
wild
caught
caught's great.
cod.
Yeah, wild caught cod is one of my
Yeah.
favorite buttery white fish. I love it. Love it. Yes. All right. So just to kind of finish up week 4, what we did, last week was we talked about leveling up. And we could obviously do a whole podcast on each one of these series. We could probably do 2 podcasts on every hack and dive deep. But last week was leveling up. So how fit are you? And we talked about doing a VO2 max. And next month, our challenge, our hack's going to be around cardiovascular. It's a cardiovascular and brain reset. So we're going to be diving deeper into the VO2 max, but I shared with you some ways where you can do, check your heart rate for 20 seconds and you can see where you line up. But if you go to shapesense.com, they have these VO2 max calculators and a bunch of cool tests there. We talked about increasing your strength with push-ups, what the averages are, where you are, and then improving your push-up, maximum amount of push-ups before you have to stop. We talked about squats. How many squats can you do before stopping? Maximum number. And then we did the balance. The balance is hard. The closed eyes balance is very tricky, but such an important part of your overall fitness. Using vitamin D, and then we talked about planks and holding your planks. So we saw a lot of people getting engaged there and getting that done. And then finally last night, what we finished up with is just, hey, pick an event that is going to push you beyond where you are now in your life. And, that could be like the 5K that we talked about in the beginning of this, or yoga, or what Cade and I are doing with our boys is Spartan race. Whatever you feel like would be really beneficial, and something you've always wanted to do, but you've never had the courage. Well, now is the time. So So that is how we finished off this amazing 5-week movement freedom course, and I think it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, all of the participation's been amazing, and now just seeing people get a little more conscientious around their fitness has been an immediate payoff. And Cade, what do you think this will do in the next 3 years if people keep these habits in their life?
Oh man, in 3 years, I think you will see, you'll be like a whole new person in 3 years. Even in 1 year, so your cellular levels recycle. It's about a year process to get all new cells from today, from a year to now.
Yeah.
And so that's where, if you're making real change throughout that process, yeah, you're going to be sleeping better. You're going to be more active, more fit. Your energy levels will be up. Yeah, it's just an amazing process. So exciting for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations, everyone. We really appreciate you guys. And we'll be back next week, same time, same place. If you need a golden ticket or you'd like to give a golden ticket for our hacks to one of your friends or family, someone you care about, all you need to do is reach out to Ann and or call the office, and we will get your a golden ticket to your friends, your family, so that they can be part of this beautiful community.
Yes, and for those of you that are just listening, and we posted Anne's email in the chat box, but I'll just read that to you because I know we do have some just strict listeners. It's Anne, ANNE dot marked MARKT at gowellness.com. So email Anne and she can get you set up with our Health Accelerator courses. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a great one. See you,
Bye
Reagan.
bye. See ya.